It's time for Twig This Week in Google. We'll take a look at the Google Glass project. For the first time ever, we've seen a video of the UI. It doesn't sell me, but what do Jeff and Gina think? We'll find out next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 186, recorded February 20th, 2013. Mall Cops and City Tours. This Week in Google is brought to you by LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom's not a law firm, but provides self-help services at your direction, like affordable business and personal documents you can trust. Visit LegalZoom.com and use the offer code TWIG to receive $10 off at checkout. And by Podio from Citrix. Manage your projects with files, instant communication, and collaboration, all in one workspace. Start using Podio today. It's free. Just visit Podio.com to sign up, set up your first workspace, and invite your team to get started. Work the way you want to with Podio.com. And by Hover.com. Hover is the reliable domain name registration and management service that's simple, honest, and easy to use. For exceptional customer support and 10% off your new domain name, go to hover.com/twig and use the offer code TWIG. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show that covers Google, the Facebook, the cloud, the Twitter, the whole thing. With us from beautiful New York, in his office at the City University of New York, Mr. Jeffrey Jarvis, Professor at Large.
Hey. I gained weight, but not that much.
BuzzMachine.com, the author of Public Parts. Gina Trapani is also here.
Yay!
From Southern California, in the host of All About Android.
Yes.
On the Twit Network. Are you still enjoying that? You still want to do that? Jason and Ron being nice to you?
Those guys are awesome.
I agree.
They're great. And Chad, it's a lot of fun. I love doing the show.
Jason just went, whew. He was listening carefully. He went, what? Awesome show, which we do Tuesdays at about, 5 p.m.?
5 p.m. Pacific. Yep.
8 p.m.
A lot
Eastern.
of fun.
And Gina also blogs at smarterwear.com. I was watching the BBC.
Oh, no.
The other day.
Not my proudest moment lately.
And
network giant revealing that it's been targeted by
I happen to have a camera ready, so I pulled it out.
The site does say there's no evidence.
And they were talking about the Facebook.
But let's speak to Jeff Jarvis, who's in New
Oh,
York.
look.
A media writer, a blogger, also author of Public Parts, a book about sharing information in the digital age. Jeff Jarvis.
You don't look happy, Jeff.
Story? Because
no, I wasn't.
Facebook is certainly a big site.
No, I think that it's rather irresponsible of you to go into a panic and make this whole story. Facebook has said that a few of its staffers' laptops were hacked. They fixed it. No user data was out there. And let's be very clear here. When you put up anything on Facebook or anything on the internet, you better be expecting that it's shared with someone, and that someone can share it on. So I really think that it's rather irresponsible of you to come along and say that this is a cause for panic around the world.
I don't think we're necessarily saying it's a cause for panic, but I do think that people would be interested simply because Facebook has a billion users, and we recently had.
You weren't mad at him.
Twitter being hacked as well, and other.
I got mad later at him.
Does it get worse?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And because it's Facebook, we wanted to examine this.
You look like Woody Allen right now.
Any details of what sort of hack took place?
You've already said it. A few of the staffers' laptops were hacked through a malware site, and there's nothing that was compromised from any sites. No, I have to disagree with you. This is irresponsible journalism. This is you're trying to do.
That's the BBC you're talking to. It's not Rupert Murdoch.
And they shouldn't be. And there's no story here. This interview shouldn't exist. I said that to your pre-interviewer. I'll say it to you. You're just causing a panic, and there's no reason for it.
Look,
answer me that, please.
Okay, listen, I totally appreciate your point, but we still think that it's a point worth discussing.
No, I don't think so. I think this
You're meaner than you were to Sarkozy.
Oh my God, technology is scary. How often do I have calls from BBC saying, let's do a story about how wonderful technology is, all the new opportunities it creates? No, This is what you do. You come along and you say, aha, a hacking story. Technology is bad. Techno panic. Danger, danger. BS. This is crap, and you know it. It's irresponsible journalism, and I'm calling you on it.
Okay, Jeff Jarvis, listen, we do appreciate your time.
Click. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Kill him.
No, absolutely not. The reason we're stopping the interview...
You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it.
No, we're more than happy to hear it, Mr. Jarvis. It's just the nature of your language, okay? We do
The
appreciate
nature of my
What did you
language.
say? Did you say F you?
I said crap.
No, I'm sure you could. Okay. Listen, thank you very much indeed for your time, Mr. Jarvis. Okay.
You will never be on the BBC
Which is
ever
awesome.
again, Mr. Jarvis. And thank you for your candor.
Jeff,
But,
that should be like the
geez.
front page of buzzmachine.com.
I love
Always.
No, I mean, it wasn't. honestly, it
Respect,
wasn't my proudest moment.
respect, dude.
They called me and said, do the story. And I spent 10 minutes trying to talk the producer out of doing the story and said, no, there's not a story here. I mean, there may be a story in tech world, which there is, but there was no cause of damage to consumers. There was no cause for panic. There was no cause for worry. It was a non-story. And I tried and tried and tried. And then I said to the producer, I said, you know what? Leave me out. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be part of your story. No. And then she came back, called back and said, no, we want you to say this. I said, I'm going to say that this is irresponsible and it's a non-story and you shouldn't be doing it. So they knew exactly what they were getting.
Oh, that's interesting. So it
Okay,
wasn't a
well, so you-
surprise to them.
Yeah, you were up front.
I
They
was
got
upfront with
offended that
them.
you used the word crap?
And then they got, and then, yeah, so then he gets all pissy with me, and you say the word crap, and they cut me off. F me.
FML.
I've been
as the
meaning to
kids say.
talk to you about your language myself, Jeff.
I know. Bollocks.
That's
Bollocks,
right.
I say.
You know,
Bollocks.
of course it's true, and mainstream media always makes a big deal out of this stuff. Now, does it change your mind a little bit that we now know that that Facebook hack was actually only one of a series of hacks by an Eastern Europe, apparently by Eastern European hackers who also got to Apple and Twitter?
Yeah, well, to this extent. Well, number one, it doesn't change my mind in terms of the moment in time when they did that story, there was no story there.
Yeah, I agree.
There was no cause for panicking people. There was nothing there. Nothing was compromised there.
We
The other
probably
truth
mentioned it
is-
and in 30 seconds went on to the next thing.
Right. The truth is that these malware things happen all the time. And yes, it happened to some big companies, and they're finally being a little more transparent about it. As someone said, I can't remember, it's a famous quote that there's only two kinds of companies, those that have been hacked and those that haven't admitted it.
Right.
So, yeah, now we have something else going on that appears to be a little bit more, but still, it's a story in a technology world. It's still not a consumer story for the world.
Yeah, and they were playing it as, oh, my God, your privacy's been violated, or it might
Right,
be.
oh, yes, the producer kept saying to me, "Well, all of your stuff on Facebook could be seen by other people." I said, "That's why you put it there."
Well, no, technically it's not, because Facebook kind of implies that you have control of it.
But there was no But there was no.
We
threat.
know that. We say
of
to
that's
everybody, if you put it online anywhere, including Facebook, you're always running the risk that it's going to become public. Facebook has a bad record of this.
Right. So it wasn't a story at the time. It's a bit more of a story now in geek world. So I would expect Steve and you to talk about it. Yes.
It is a story only because it looks like a concerted attempt to do industrial espionage, A, and B, because it takes advantage of a flaw in Java that even the Department of Homeland Security has been warning people to turn off Java for weeks.
Right. But again, it's not a consumer story at a general broad audience world around. And I just got fed up with the techno panic angle.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
so
I understand.
But after I got off, I hung my head, and it was late at night. And I also said some more things like, I forget, something like "up yours, Auntie" on Twitter. And,
Anti being the anti-BBC.
anti-BBC. No, I said "kiss my ass, Auntie." Yeah. and so it was not
The
again.
Queen reads Twitter, Jeff. You've got to
It was
consider
not
the...
my proudest moment. And people are going after me. This is a journalism professor saying these things. And no. So I go to bed. I'm thinking, oh, now I got to deal with this again. You know, why didn't they just leave me alone? It was Saturday night. I wake up the next morning, and to this day, yay, good on you.
Exactly.
Yeah! It's like a lot of that.
A lot of
Fine.
support, I'm sure.
Don't egg me
Yeah.
on, folks. Mistake.
Yeah. No, we love it. We want to see. I think there's a
I thought
certain
it was
amount of
great.
like, what might he do next? Let's watch Jeff blow.
No, I think it's great. I mean, I thought the point was really was well made, and I have a problem with confrontation, so I admire folks who can be that articulate and do it, especially on the BBC. And it's just fun to see the British guy get ruffled by the use of the word crap. Like, I'm too nice for that crap, but I need to get better at that sort of confrontation. So, yay, good on you. Don't feel bad about it.
But I'm trying not to do that, and it's in my DNA. It's there. And I try to tamp it down. And by the way, crap's not a dirty word.
It's not. Apparently, it is in the UK. Some people are in our chat room apparently say, yeah, it isn't considered okay to say on television and on the BBC.
Oh, they say much worse on television in the UK. Much worse. But anyway,
I know. It seems like a mild word. But it's all in the ear of the beholder.
It's all cultural, though.
Yeah, it's cultural. And as somebody who has also, from time to time, lost his temper in public, I completely know how you feel. It's one of those things where it was justified and you're glad you did it, but it's also embarrassing. And it's I understand completely.
Yeah, I mean, Scoble went bat pucky on Matthew Ingram this week when Matthew just said, I'm glad I switched off my iPhone and switched to my Android because the notifications are better. And Scoble went off on him. And I finally came into Scoble. I said, Robert, is this really the kind of conversation we want to have here? And he kind of said, oh, yeah, okay. And we need those.
Ironically, I just saw a story yesterday that Scoble's going to an Android phone.
I know.
Like that. By the way, I was like, really? That's a news story that Robert Scoble is going to an Android phone? That's like, what is the world coming to? Seriously.
I know. It's true.
And the iOS versus Android, that old chestnut. I don't know. It's just such a kind
history.
it's an old conversation at this point.
Tesla versus the New York Times. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, that's yesterday.
Now, but you were quoted so it's not yesterday yet, because finally the Times ombudsman,
who's really great,
the public editor, what's her name, Maureen?
Margaret Sullivan.
Margaret Sullivan, that's right.
She's quite wonderful.
And she tweeted, you guys had a little tweet exchange over the whole thing.
It was just funny because, here Elon Musk is just, for the background of the story is a New York Times reporter drove the car up the East Coast trying to show that you could do it all this way, but he ended up having problems. He ended up getting the car towed. Elon Musk went completely bat pukey on him. And I can't figure out what other synonym
It's
for
a
that.
complicated story because David Broder, the guy who wrote the story, is not an automotive critic. He is a energy reporter from Washington, D.C. Tesla went to him and said, hey, we think it'd be great if you did a story to kind of match a story we had done earlier on the West Coast about a road trip in an electric vehicle because we have they're trying to promote the fact they have the longest range. Now, Margaret kind of punted on this one, I thought.
I thought so, too. I agree. And I think Margaret is very brave and she does great things, but I think she punted and basically said that...
Well, they're both right.
Yeah, kind of. They both missed.
Broder did certain things. She criticized him for not taking better notes, and that's, of course, a serious criticism for a reporter. Notes are that's your defense. Those things you write on a piece of paper, that's your defense. And everybody ought to take note now that companies have, as Tesla does, they're monitoring it. They know exactly what he did. So they said, here's the data. Here's what he said he did. This is what he actually did. They don't match. I think Musk was a little bit inflammatory in what he wrote. I think
Broder was... didn't show... If I were going to spend that amount of money for a car, and that's the kind of customer service I'm going to get when I have a problem, is, as everybody said, it was the Apple equivalent of you didn't hold it right.
But others pointed out that if he had read the manual... Instead of calling Tesla and saying, what should I do? Because they didn't give him good advice. But if he had read the manual, he would have known exactly what to do. I think the most salient point is it's an electric vehicle. You shouldn't have, it's not for road tripping.
Well, but again, it was Tesla's.
That was their idea.
It was also a very, very cold day in the U.S.
Coldest day of the year.
Or the U.S., I mean, in the East Coast.
Right.
And so you couldn't get up. So anyway, Margaret Sullivan wrote this piece, and she's a really, really good public editor. Respect her a lot. It's a tough job.
Tell us about that role, because the Washington Times seems to be eliminating their ombudsman.
Post.
Eliminating theirs. Times doesn't need an ombudsman.
No, we know
they've got Reverend Moon.
Yes.
What is that role, and when did it happen, and why is it going away at the Post?
At the Post, it's money. Pure and simple. It's a body, and can they get a reporting post in there? Whereas at the Times, especially after Jason Blair, the faking reporter, and other things, the Times has needed one. They hired, I think this is the 4th or 5th. It's a fairly recent vintage. Margaret came in, and she's from the Buffalo Evening whatever, paper owned by Warren Buffett for many, 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 many years. And I thought, oh, a traditionalist comes in. She won me over, won a lot of my fellow geeky guys like Jay Rosen and Emily Bell over very quickly.
Her role is to not represent the Times, but to
represent the readers.
Represent the readers, but she works at the Times.
She's changed the role a little bit, so she doesn't just try to answer readers' questions and readers' complaints. Instead, she takes on issues. And this
was a perfect example, wasn't it?
It was a great example.
Yeah.
So she said, come out right about, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know, but I'm going to watch it. Watch me. I'm going to ask. She tried to get a hold of Musk. They didn't return the call. She made that public. He did, back and forth. So then she writes the column that basically kind of says, you're both kind of messed up a little bit, and the reporter should have done this or done that. So Elon Musk then comes on a tweet and says, my faith in the Times is restored. And so I just retweeted that and said, well, that was easy. And Margaret came in and just put on exclamation points. You know, just it's been quite the kerfuffle. Because the interesting thing about this too is, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, it's been really a parallel of Apple fanboy versus like Android.
Tesla's the new Apple for sure.
It really is. So that what happened is that there becomes this emotional defense.
That's right. Being critical of Tesla in any way is considered to be apostate. You're not, you're violating you're a heretic.
Yes, exactly.
It's a religion.
Now, mind you, I saw a picture of Bradley Horowitz with his guys. So I'm thinking, I ain't buying one of these things. Of course, the truth is, I can't afford one of these things. Never will be able to afford one of these things. And I see a picture of Bradley Horowitz with his on a road trip, and I have to admit, I got gadget lust again. And if only it were on Kickstarter, I'd be ordering one. You know.
What has to happen is I have to sponsor the show and then provide cars for each of us so that we can talk about it during the spot. What do you think?
Deal.
Leo, make that happen, please.
I've driven in the Tesla as one of our viewers came down and took us for a ride, and it's an amazing vehicle. I'm very impressed with it. But I think, despite the fact it has more than 300-mile range, because it's got a lot of batteries in that thing, you shouldn't assume that you could just get in the car and drive.
Well, but Tesla put in charging stations every, I think, 200 miles.
They're trying to promote these superchargers.
And they're fast superchargers, right?
But that's a little misleading because it takes an hour or so. I mean, it's not like going to a gas station.
Precisely. And one of them is in a horrible rest stop on the turnpike, which is you don't want to spend any more time than it takes to urinate there.
Our friend David Prager has one. He was on the list early on. And, of course, I've driven in the earlier Teslas, the sports car. And I think they're very impressive. They're really and they're kind of as good as you can get with an electric vehicle in current technology.
I mean, I don't follow cars at all. I know really very little about this car, but I have to tell you, the fact that this person couldn't go for a ride, or people were saying that this reporter should have read a 30-page manual, turned me off.
Yes.
I was like, I don't want to read a manual to drive a car. I've been driving for 15 years.
Well, you have bad news. It's not a gas vehicle, so everything you know about driving is different. So you do need to read a manual. It's not a long manual, but it is not a gas vehicle. And so when you treat it like a gas vehicle, you're going to not get the results.
Well, what's going to happen next, of course, is you'll get a self-driving electric car, and then you can go back.
Damn well better read the manual.
Speaking of which, Leo, in the rundown at the bottom of Other, there's this will only work for video, but there's a computer simulation of an intersection with self-driving cars. It is mesmerizing.
Oh.
Mesmerizing.
Right. Let me fire that up while we can. And it is really, this is a media story. And because of Jeff and Gina and my interest in media and Jeff's expertise in media, we often talk about media on this show. This has become, in a way, our show. So these cars are crossing the intersection. Wow, look at that.
Oh,
this looks like Rome on a busy day.
I was going to say Paris. Yeah.
Yeah. This is but it's not even a roundabout. They're just going in and avoiding each other.
So there's no stoplights.
There's no stoplights. Nothing.
Wow.
And it works because they're smart and they know what they're doing. Unlike us, they've even got cars turning left through traffic.
Yeah.
I love this.
It's just
can't wait.
And so the great thing is people in the comments below it on my post were just saying, people are going to scream as this is going on.
That'll be fun.
The whole idea of a computer-driven car taking over and knowing better than you do is so freaky to us.
You know what? They're going to have to draw the shades.
Yes.
Because you're absolutely right. If you're in that car, you're going, no!
Trauma.
And if you do hit the brakes, you ruin the whole thing.
Right.
You cause an unbelievable crash.
Isn't that fascinating? That is really neat.
Isn't it?
I love
and so
it.
when we all get used to this, we'll all just kind of be sitting in a car checking our email as if nothing was going on, as if we weren't driving right into
I
a
hope it
really
happens in
busy
my lifetime.
intersection.
I
mean,
really do. It will happen in your lifetime, Gina. I have no doubt about that. You'll be my age or older. But I hope it happens in my lifetime. I would be
looking no different from how she looks right now.
Of course. She'll look she'll look better.
Oh, I appreciate the vote of confidence. I hope
Even
like
better.
A fine Cabernet.
Anyway, I just thought we had to start with the Jeff Jarvis video because that's all anybody's had in our chat room has had to talk about all week.
I was afraid of that.
Are you going to ask Jeff? Are you going to ask Jeff? But I commend you, and I think it happens to me all the time. It's one of the reasons I'm really glad I don't work in mainstream media, is that mainstream media does such a poor job of covering technology and does tend to sensationalize it. We have even we have a hard time when it comes to things like tracking cookies, separating the hysteria from the reality. So, I mean, it's hopeless for mainstream media. We have our own fights over those things.
Yeah.
800. What is Google's stock price now? 800.
Oh, it's over 800. Yeah. I wish but every dollar I've gained with Google, I lost in Apple.
Oh, it went down. Oh, it dropped
down
15 bucks today.
$10.
It's under 800. $792.
Oh,
it opened at 805 bucks. So
Apple's
that's
down
profit taking.
448.
That's just profit taking. That's people saying.
That's the market down 108.
Yes. And also when it goes over 800, I'm sure there are program sales that go, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take my profits now. Google Glass is getting more widespread. We're going to talk about that. And for the first time ever, Google has shown a video about what the UI will look like. Are we getting excited about Glass?
Oh.
That video got me. It got me.
I'll show it in a moment. I'm excited. Did you guys order?
I wasn't there because I had my appendectomy.
Oh,
but
that's
right. Yeah.
Gina will point out a new thing you can do, and I already did it.
Oh, good. Yes, you can. You can. It's not too late. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, a word from LegalZoom.com. What kind of protection do you have for your blog name, your product, your company, your family? You know, legal documents, oftentimes I think we put it off because I don't want to find a lawyer, then go to the lawyer, then spend lots of money with a lawyer. But you need to cover your behind. What can you say on the BBC? Not fanny, I know that. You need to cover your behind, and LegalZoom.com is what it's all about. Not a law firm. They give you self-help services. You fill out simple questionnaires to do things like incorporate your business or form an LLC, starting at $99 to form an LLC. You know, I did this in 2005, and we are still the same LLC. It's stuck. Trademarks. Is your blog, is Buzz Machine trademarked? Smarterware. Be worth thinking about. Copyrights. They'd even do patents, NDAs. And if you have a family, I'm sure as soon as Etta was born, you ran out and got a will.
We did.
Good.
Which is lots of fun, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking about all the terrible things that can happen.
So if you can't breathe, but you can signal with your left eye.
Yes.
Did you get the durable power of medical attorney?
Yeah, we did. You
got to do all of that, sure.
Yeah, and you got to do if everybody in your family is dead and your baby is alone, what could happen?
Right.
That's the worst.
And if you don't have a will, the government decides that. You don't necessarily want the court to say, yeah, Etta should go to this home in Missouri.
Right. Yeah.
So make a will. $69 to establish a LegalZoom will or a living trust. In the past 12 years, over 2 million Americans have used LegalZoom for LLCs, wills, trusts, trademarks, and more. And, it does happen that you're going along in the questionnaire and you go, okay, these are the two choices. Which is better? Like I was trying to decide California or Delaware for the LLC. And when that comes up, they have an extensive network of attorneys through their LegalZoom legal plan in almost every state. You can search online profiles, unedited customer reviews, and figure out which one you want to work with at a set fee, pre-negotiated fee, so it's very affordable. Start your business, protect your family today with LegalZoom.com. Not a law firm, self-help services at your specific direction, or speak to a legal plan attorney to get your questions answered and ongoing advice. just to give you a little thank you for using LegalZoom and letting them know that you heard this on Twig, we invite you to visit LegalZoom.com and enter the offer code TWIG, T-W-I-G, in the referral box. You'll get $10 off and we'll get credit. LegalZoom.com. Really good for a blog. You know, I think a lot of bloggers don't even think about this stuff. All right. Here it is. This Google posted this. And so Google, you posted it publicly. Do not pull this video down. This is how it feels through glass. I guess we're in a balloon ride. In the upper right-hand corner, I see the time, and I see OK.
Just like Google Now.
Yep.
Yeah, oh.
Trapeze.
We're on in 2 minutes.
And you can talk to it just like Google Now.
Glass. Hang out with the flying club.
You could do a hangout.
Fly on a plane.
Photos of tiger heads.
You do an image search.
You ready?
Right there.
Okay, Glass, take a picture.
Wow. Video? We've seen this video, actually. Not this
It
one.
was a different kid.
Was it a different kid?
I think so. This one has a sound.
Jumping out of an
That's
airplane.
a
Is that Larry? Sergey?
This part I don't like.
Don't fly upside down. Do not eat snakes for dinner. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. I can't look. Oh! Roller coaster.
After this bridge, first exit.
Oh, I'm getting nervous.
Navigation.
Almost Daredevil.
Even on the slopes. Yeah. Well, you know what? They're taking a page from the GoPro cameras.
This is cool.
A lot of first-person extreme video. Although ping pong's not that extreme.
That's about
Unless you're Lena Dunham. All right, I want it.
Oh, yeah.
This is a good video.
This kind of sells it because so everything's going on in a heads-up display in the upper right-hand corner.
I mean, this just got me.
This is a
Birthday
hangout. Grandma's birthday. The grandkids are on the glass talking to
Translate
her.
right here.
Here we are in Venice eating
Translate.
Chinese food for reasons no one understands. There's a yeah, that's cool. An image lookup on a jellyfish, and text messaging with your daughter or your girlfriend, depending on who you are. Sharing it. All right, I like it.
So a friend of mine emailed me this and said, either Google has a wildly unrealistic idea of what my day is like, or I'm a really boring person.
Do I get to do all those fun things if I have glass on?
That video blew me away. I absolutely loved it. And now, I mean, so my daughter's 5 months old. So and the way I use technology has changed a lot, but I focus a lot now on video conferencing is a big deal and taking first-person pictures. I mean, the baby laughs and smiles all the time. As soon as I hold the DSLR up, she goes deadpan. She's just looking at the big camera, you know? So I saw the video and I was just like, oh my God, I cannot wait to play with that, with those glasses on because it's so kind of, unobtrusive.
This article in The Verge says Google expects to launch or hopes to launch Glass early 2014. The developer edition is $1,500. Those of us who were at Google I/O, actually I wasn't there, but Jason bought us. We have the little. I'm at the number 747. So I'm on the list. I don't know when I'm going to get mine, but you said Jeff, you can get it in another way.
Well, no, I don't want to kill Gina's tip.
Oh yeah,
save it.
Fine.
Later in the show, Gina will tell you how you too can spend $1,500 on a non-existent product.
Yes.
That may or may not work.
Hey, I bought a 3D doodler. What's the difference?
I'm actually really curious to know when the Explorers, when the I/O folks get theirs. I mean, I've got the number. My number's much higher than yours. I waited the last day. It's like 18.
Didn't you have to sign up to go to a demo session for them?
Do you?
You didn't. Well, they had those demo sessions, but you didn't have to. You didn't.
Just got in line.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
And gave him a credit card. More importantly, gave him a.
You didn't have to go to that.
The most expensive piece of glass paperweight ever.
Yeah. Wait, did we? I don't think that we gave a credit card. I think we just.
Jason, didn't you have to pay him? You promised. Well, no, I guess that makes sense because they're not going to debit. No, it's all right. We don't bother Jason. He's busy. It just makes sense because they're not going to take the money out anyway. So what they'll do, we did not give them any money.
Jason says no, he didn't give them anything.
Yeah, no,
hey,
we didn't.
Anybody out there who has buyer's remorse, I'll take it.
All right.
I'm sure they're just going to charge your Google account, your Google Wallet account, or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Or even if not, I mean, they're going to say, hey, if you want you're in line, your number's up. Do you want it?
Right.
Can you imagine what that's going to sell for on eBay?
Well, that's what I figured is that I guarantee I can make money on it day one. I can flip it. Yeah. I'm not going to do that, but if I had buyer's remorse, I could always do that. I could always flip it. I could sell it to Jeff for $2,000.
It might actually, I don't know, it might violate the terms of use. I mean,
yeah, it's a developer
they probably are tracking. Yeah, it's the developer version, the preview version. They probably know which one is attached to your email address. So I don't know. I wonder how that'll go.
Yeah. No, but I don't. So people are saying, well, Leo, why are you so negative? I find this hard to believe. That's why. And I think it's going to look really dorky when you wear them. And it could very well be annoying. And it could be like the Steve Martin invention in what is it, the movie The Jerk, where he invents the glasses with the handle. It's really great. Nobody bends their glasses, and then they realize later it makes everybody cross-eyed, and he gets sued. Could make everybody cross-eyed.
Okay.
Do you remember that famous picture of the Life magazine picture of the theater, all the people wearing 3D glasses?
Could be very like that.
Well, here's I'll ship it to you right now on the chat for the doc. There's the link.
Yeah,
it looks just like it.
Wait a minute. This is from your Google Plus account.
Yeah.
Gosh, you think I should be able to click that? It should be a live link.
You're kidding me? It's not.
Oh.
So I guess you can't see it that well, but it looks just like that. It's gonna be. We're gonna see a whole audience filled with people wearing the Google Glass.
In the year 2050, we'll look back and laugh.
Yeah.
I understand that it's not acceptable in this crowd to poo-poo any brand new technology, but we should embrace and say everything new is great. But I'd like to try it for a while before I see it. Of course, we ordered one because I want to try it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to pass judgment before you try it, but I think that it's totally reasonable to pass judgment, to look at the way people look wearing it and say this is going to be a weird fashion thing.
The Segway was really cool. People said they're going to, Bill Gates said they're going to change the way or maybe it was Steve Jobs, they're going to change the way they build cities because of this thing. And then we got them and we stood on them and you looked like the most idiotic dork on one. And it's still cool. It's still great. But because you look like a dork riding one.
Yeah. But, Leo, people now walk down the street seeming to talk to themselves and no one's bothered by that.
Yeah. So that's right. I don't think there's a rule.
Right.
But there's the potential. There's the high potential that wearing these will be considered the nerdiest of nerdy things to do.
Well, and that's a badge of honor.
And there's also the, dare I say, creep factor, where if you're talking to someone or you're in a room with someone who has them, you might feel distrustful of them or say, like, are you recording me? Are you taking pictures of me? I mean, holding a camera up is a social thing. I mean, it's a signal, right? Like I'm taking a picture.
This is something historically Google's never been good at, which is because they are such nerds themselves, understanding how something's going to be look in society and in the real world.
It's true. The effect on norms.
Right.
I imagine the remake of Taxi Driver. You looking at me?
you looking at me? You glassing me?
You glassing me?
Yeah, because I mean the presumption is this guy is not only looking at me and talking to me, but he's looking at his screen the whole time. How rude is it if I talk to you and I'm holding up my phone while I'm talking to you like this? Is this considered rude? So, well, Gina, I mean, it's considered. Who's
to say that you're not having a better conversation than you are with me? Who's to say where that norm is going to settle out? We don't know yet.
You think it'll be considered okay?
Might be. How many groups of teenagers have you seen together standing as if talking but not talking to each other? They're on things
all the time.
And that's their norm. And who am I to say that's wrong?
No, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it may not be accepted in society. It's not up to us, but it may be people just go,
The new off the record is going to be like, hey, can you take your glasses off?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
You're not allowed in a lot of buildings with a camera phone.
Well, you're not going to be in a gym with these things on.
There's another one. Yeah, I can't take, in theory, I can't whip out a camera phone in the locker room.
Well, but remember that. At first,
I do.
When camera phones came out,
Get some of my best pictures.
They were forbidden in gyms. You couldn't carry them in, supposedly.
Right.
That never happened. Just obviously, if you whipped one out and started taking pictures, you're going to get pummeled.
Get the crap beaten out of you.
Yeah.
Guess it depends on the gym.
This is about well, that's true too. This is about norms, right, and adjusting norms.
Right.
And I always tell my Kodak camera story of fiendish Kodakers lying in wait with the fear in the 1890s. But when I did a spiel on this recently about new norms, somebody said, well, yeah, today, if I'm walking with my, if you're walking with Etta in a park and somebody comes along and starts taking pictures of her, you freak, right? It has nothing to do with technology. It has to do with the accepted norms that we get to. People aren't going to just take a picture of your daughter.
Right.
9 to 5, Google says that to get its products into more hands, Google will open its own stores by the end of the year. But I don't think there's a coincidence that that's timed to coincide with the release of Glass. I think that's what these stores are for.
That's exactly what these stores are going to be for, right? For people to come in and try Glass, no doubt. I mean, the timing sounds right.
And it's not going to be something that you will buy on the internet.
No, exactly. Well, but also, Leo, I don't think it's going to be fulfillment places. My theory about this, and it's just a theory, I have no basis for saying this, but I think where physical retail space goes is toward marketing over fulfillment, right? Showroom. And I'm going to bet that Google is going to look at this more as a showroom for the world of Google than a way to sell you, 1,000 Nexus 4s. Because they also don't want to end up in channel conflict with all of their suppliers and retail chains, their suppliers' retail chains for this, right? They could really piss off Samsung by doing this. But they can say, look at the wonders of Android. Look at it on all these phones. You can play with all the Samsung phones and the Motorola phones next to each other. I just feel that's where they're going to go. It's just not just about selling Nexus 7s. It's in their interest to have you be a better Google citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this last night on All About Android, and I think the thing that I love the most about the idea of a Google store is if they sort of model it after the Apple Store, which is basically what Microsoft did, that there'll be, the Google Geek Bar where you can go and bring your customer service questions. And that is just, let's face it, it's funny. Google's never really done. Imagine Google doing like meet space customer service. Imagine the line of people going like, my website doesn't rank high enough anymore. Like,
but they should do. Don't you think that's a good thing for them to do?
I think it would
be.
They need a public face.
They do. I just think it would be funny. You can certainly imagine classes like, here's how to live in the cloud. Here's how to like live your life with a Chromebook and an Android phone. You could absolutely imagine that, the way that Apple does kind of those free classes in their stores. That I think they could absolutely use, and people they've got plenty of content just to talk about Chromebooks and all that. We were also talking on All About Android last night. Chad actually pointed out that Google doesn't have that many products.
No, it's a Chromebook. It's a Nexus,
Chromebox,
or it's
Nexus
a Glass
line, Glass.
But it has many products, virtual products, and if you can get help to really learn the wonders of Gmail and Docs and Maps and Now and all these other things, that's in their interest.
Yep.
Also, if rumors are to believe, Apple making a kind of serious commitment to an iWatch or some sort of wearable watch. Does that validate Google's strategy? And is a watch better than wearing a pair of glasses? Discuss. Professor Jarvis. Watch or glasses? You're already wearing glasses.
I saw some story that said that the being near your eye is creepier than being on your wrist, which I think is insane.
It's more useful.
Which is by your eye. I think so. I think it's a lot more useful. And I think that it's a quantum leap ahead of the idea of wearing something on your wrist. But it depends on what it does and why it's there. I think that the fact that they're both wearable is really a coincidence. It's not we got to try to find trends in everything. It's not a trend in wearable technology. It's both these things do potentially break the notion of the screen and the keyboard and have other impacts. But just because you wear them, I don't think is the interesting thing about them. I think they're probably going to do very, very different things.
And I have a point to that in that your watch is a completely different user experience than your glasses.
Amen.
Because you have to speak to your glasses. And when I saw this story on Reddit, there was a lot of people in the comments. The first thing they brought up was, what can you say next to someone wearing glass? And say, okay, glass, Google search, Mother Teresa, and then bam, it's like the user experience of touching and being able to physically control a watch versus the outside experience of needing to speak to your glass is very different.
But also what we saw, the idea of the input of the glass to you. I mean, you have two different inputs. You have to put this up here and fine. I don't have to yank out my phone. I can look at a screen here, or it's there all the time. That'll be interesting.
What about a Hawk says we should get a net-connected nose ring?
So from a fashion perspective, I would go watch, right? Because I don't wear glasses. It will be weird for me to wear glasses. I'm just not used to it, right? Like I wear sunglasses in San Diego a lot, but I don't wear regular glasses. So it's going to change the way I look. And that's completely from like a vanity perspective, right? But from every other perspective, it's definitely glass. I mean, for me, glass is going to be about documentation, taking pictures, recording, and getting information very quickly. Yes. And, I bought the watch band for the little iPod mini, and, it was cute, but it's been so long since I've worn a watch. You have to look at your watch. You can't taking pictures with your watch is a pain. Swiping around a tiny little screen is a pain. So the voice commands and the fact that it's just a heads-up display, a constant heads-up display, is definitely more interesting to me. Although I do wonder just about, when do we have kind of a quiet moment where we can just be in the world without, Google telling me like being kind of up in my face. And it sounds like you can dismiss the cards, or it looks like you can kind of dismiss the cards from your glass. But it feels like, oh, great. Like every time my mom texts me, like it's going to show up right in front of my face, So I kind of have that feeling about it too. But again, I just really want to try it before I pass.
I do
While
too.
you were talking, of course, Gina, I was checking my Twitter and my email and all this too, because I can't just listen to one person because it's just not enough input.
I got all my stuff going at the same time. I'm going to go, start the recorders. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think this thing is a flop. I think it will come out. It will do all these wonderful things. It'll be very, very cool. I'm not saying it won't be. And people like you and me, Gina, may very well want it and wear it, just like maybe we rode Segways around. But ultimately, nobody wants to put on glasses if they don't have to. I'm wearing contacts so I don't have to wear glasses. And it's going to be considered dorky, invasive, and I think it will be a flop. And I think 1 year from now, you come back here, you can play that recording, and then I will either eat my hat or crow with satisfaction. What do you think? You guys want to go out on the limb and say what you think?
We should do a long bet.
I'll do a long bet. I think it's a non-starter. I think Google's making this up out of whole cloth.
I think the problem here is this, Leo. I think that the product itself, Google Glass as a brand, I don't know that even Google cares whether it succeeds. I think what it is a harbinger of screenless net coming.
I think what it is a harbinger of the stock market demanding new products every few years. And if you don't have one, make one up. And I think that the pressure from the financial markets and the news media and everybody else to constantly be changing the world gets to companies like Apple and Google, and they start making crap up that nobody's asking for.
Gina, what's your bet?
I think it's going to be a specialty item. I think it's going to be a lot more common than the Segway, but I don't think this is going to be an everyday thing. So when I go to Google I/O, I want to wear glass. When I fly an airplane, when I do trampoline, when I'm at the kid's birthday party, I'm going to wear glass. On a regular work day, I'm probably not going to wear glass. I think it's going to be one of those things where, it's like, do I, am I on vacation? Do I want to remember this experience? Am I in a new city that I don't know and I'm going to need navigation and I'm going to, I don't want to be constantly staring down at my phone. That's when I would wear glass. Right now, so the price, what's it going to retail for? $1,000, right? Like $9.99 they're talking? Yeah. That's expensive. It's going to be a signifier of someone who's extremely techie with a lot of disposable income. and I think that community of folks will probably wear it as kind of a specialty item at events and things. But I don't think it's going to be an everyday thing. So I'm kind of in the middle. I don't think it's going to be as much of a flop as the Segway, although the Segway is a novelty thing, right? You take
it's not a flop.
The Segway.
The cops at the airport drive around Segways all the time. It's far from a flop.
Mall cops and city tours.
Mall cops and city tours. Yeah.
And they'll be wearing glass as well. So
well,
I think it's going to be more common than the Segway, but certainly not an everyday thing. I don't think it's going to be a huge hit. I think that this is going to be a kind of a slow thing. And I'd wear them if I'm gonna be on the Great Wall of China. I want to have glass on.
Really?
Yeah, heck yeah. When I went to China, I mean, if I'm doing anything kind of interesting, if I'm going for a hot air balloon ride, I absolutely want to wear glass. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to be able to stream it or Mr. I stream everything? I'm shocked.
Yeah, I just think it's a bad form factor. You don't want something impinging on your vision, especially if you're at the Great Wall of China. You want to take it in. If you pull out a camera, you'll take a picture with the camera. Why do you want it on all the time?
I mean, I spent my entire trip in China with my camera in front of my face or my camera phone taking pictures.
Yeah, this would make me enjoy the trip more, Leo.
Right, because I wouldn't have to be like, well, it's just a camera strap and where my batteries and all that stuff. I'd just be on my face.
People in the chat room are saying, I'm jaded, I'm bored with technology. I'm not in the least. I love technology and I see stuff that excites me all the time. But I have to call it when I see something that just doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's give you a few use cases.
This makes any sense.
I'll give you 2 use cases here, 2 odd use cases. First, how did we get to see the meteor falling out of the sky? So it's from so many perspectives. Dashboard cams. Why do the Russians have dashboard cams? Because they have crooked cops. They all record it. What does this allow? It becomes an amazing, constant collection of who would think, we're going to record you driving around all the time. How boring can you be? But there was a single use that ended up with side uses, right? So, I think there's something like that. Second, one of my students in the entrepreneurial program this term, a photographer named Andy Kropa, I don't want to give away his full idea, but what inspired his idea was that his mother had Alzheimer's and had trouble remembering her day. And he looked at all this trend toward trying to record your life. Well, rather than being some Microsoft geek who records your life, what if you're somebody who can't remember your day and records your life? And you can get it back. What if you're a cop? You can have that on. It's going to freak us out a bit, but, hey, it's public, it's this and that. I can see individual use cases cropping up, like the dashboard cam, that kind of lead the way to other uses.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely more bullish than Leo.
Yeah, we are.
But I think this is good. I'm glad we're not all in agreement. We're going to see what happens.
I am too.
All right, 1 year from now, Chad, I want you to pull this tape out.
Right.
This product.
Actually, I don't know if it'll be out a year. In fact, here's another prediction. It won't be out a year from now.
Yeah, that's true too.
We're talking fall of 2014 at the earliest.
This product itself will not be a hit.
Oh, well, we're in agreement there.
But this will be the harbinger of surprising things to come.
I think wearable computing makes sense. I'm not against wearable computing. What's hard to figure out as a form factor, I don't think the iWatch is going to be a hit either. I think that's even stupider.
Oh, well, you also have the the Look-See?
Yeah, the Look-See. I have a Look-See. That is really dorky.
Yeah, it is.
I bought a Look-See to try, and it's a camera that goes on your temple. Now the problem with that, it's giant.
Yeah,
I don't know what wearable computing should end up looking like, to be honest.
Well, my student went and he ordered digital camera lenses from some Hong Kong supplier of some sort, and he was amused. He came in with the box, and there were like 10 of them in a bag.
Yeah,
and they were smaller than little Legos.
Yeah, lipstick cams are cheap and easy and widely.
Oh, yeah. Geez. So you don't need to be wearing whole glasses and things. There's other use cases.
I think
just a dot.
I actually think, believe it or not, the smartphone is a pretty good form factor. I don't think we've seen the end of the line on smartphones. And you pull it out when you need it. You could do augmented reality if you really want to look at the world through a screen.
I don't know. I still have a hard time. Maybe this makes me really old. I have a hard time seeing, especially young people, all standing around together, staring down at their phone. Like,
what do you mean? That's all they do. Oh, I see. You don't like it when you see that.
Right.
No, I don't. It makes me like.
Well, this is the same thing. You're just hiding it. It's just stealthier.
You're right. So your eyeballs are focusing on the heads-up display versus the person in front of you.
Another reason that it's not going to succeed, because you think you're bothered by kids looking at the phone. At least you know what they're doing. Now they're going to be looking at you with a glazed expression. How do you feel when somebody's talking to you and looks over your shoulder the whole time? That's what you're going to see.
Well, that's what they do with me anyway.
They won't be looking at you. They'll be looking over their shoulder at their Google Glass.
But look at it another way, Leo. Is that now you both got enamored when Android came out with its notifications, and I was still an iPhone guy.
Yes,
you were enamored of that.
Love
right?
them. Yes.
And but what did you have to do? You had to pick up the phone, you had to turn it on and swipe your 40 different ways, and then you had to go like
Nothing wrong with that.
And then you said, "Oh, look, the notifications," right? Which is fine.
That means I'm in control.
It was a big step beyond what had existed before, which was you had to actually go into a program, right? Well, now I want to imagine if it is suddenly in the corner of your eye, you get a little notification.
I don't have to imagine, because I have it on my Apple desktop. So they took the notifications and they put them on your computer. It is the most annoying thing ever. I turn it off. I don't care whose birthday. It's Kevin Rose's 38th birthday tomorrow. Do I want to see that right now on my screen? I do not.
That's the problem of the use. Right, exactly. And that's why in a world where streams become more prevalent than pages, and there's a constant stream of information, there's going to be value in a company like Google or Marissa at Yahoo figuring out only those notifications that truly matter to you and make you actually do something.
By the way, now the entire chat room is derailed talking about the fact that Kevin Rose is 38. And this is my point.
Squirrel.
We do not need more distractions.
Something shiny.
I think that what we need is ways to manage this stuff. And I think just turning up the push is not a good thing. And that's all this is. Dial up the push.
Stupid technology turns my light off. I'm alive. I tell you I'm alive.
Tell the BBC.
Right, Leo, I absolutely agree. Meaningless streams of irritating notifications, like meaningless streams of email and news and everything else, absolutely horrible. I think there's a great need for really, really smart filtering of your stream.
Oh, yeah. That's why Now is kind of interesting, because Now is pull, but it's pushed into the pull. So they're pushing information I think I want, but I get to choose when I see it.
Show title. It's pushed into the pull.
Yeah. I want push pull. Push me, pull you. Or something.
Wait, hold on. I think we're talking about a couple different things here. I'm confused. So we're not talking. There's the context of the notifications, like the way that you get them, and then there's like the quality and quantity of them, right? And those are two separate things.
Yes, except I submit. I don't care what information this desktop pushed up at me. It's still annoying that I'm doing something and it's and OS 10 continually tells me something's going on. That's
so
annoying.
Do you feel that way about Now? Do you feel that way about Google Now?
No, because that's pulled push.
Right, because you launch Now.
I say yes. I would feel that way if my. In fact, I do feel that way. There are some Android things. For instance, when a call comes in now, it has a window that says this call came. What do you want to do about it? I don't know what program's doing that. That's annoying. But the idea that I can pull this down or I can tap the Now and see immediately what's going on. I want it now. And what's great is they have put this together in such a way that and I love this, that they're trying to give me information that they know I want. So it's pushed, but I'm pulling it.
But Gina's still right that for the right notification, you would want to be interrupted. Right?
Well, yeah, if it's going to say there's a tornado coming.
Right.
There's some things, but not everything.
No,
this sounds like pretty easily configurable. Like if the heads-up display it doesn't show you anything unless you say, "Okay, glass." I mean, that is something I would like.
But then why am I wearing a dorky pair of glasses?
Well, because you can take pictures. I
can take a picture. I got a camera.
Well, right. Yeah, no, but
I could take a better picture. And by the way, I don't know how, but think about it. This picture is always from the point of view of your right eyebrow.
Well, that's going to be interesting.
Right?
What the video.
That's not a good picture. Photographers spend a lot of energy thinking, composing, moving around, waiting. every picture's from my right eyebrow? That's not good.
Better, but in some cases, better to have it than not. You can still take your camera out. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. But at that moment that Gina's wonderful, beautiful little baby we still haven't met smiles at her, she can get that moment.
Yeah. And or the opportunity I get to sit down with a mentor and I'm going to ask for some advice and say, hey, do you mind if I record this? Which I can pull out my phone and say, hey, do you mind if I record this? But it's a little different if I'm like, hey, let's,
Well, here's a question. Isn't your mentor, isn't the presumption now, because they could tell you're wearing a recording device on your eyebrow, that you might always be recording? And isn't there this a little bit of creepiness coming into this?
We're probably going to have a red light. I predict a red light on it.
What if I carried around a microphone all the time? Would you sit down and talk candidly with me if I did this?
Well, you do, Leo.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right. Or a reporter's notebook. What, Jeff, if you walked around with a reporter's notebook and a pen poised all the time, people would think, what is he doing?
When people know what I do, they run away sometimes.
Yeah. I think there's a high creepy factor.
I remember when my sister was a minister in Princeton. The student minister was Jeb Stuart Magruder, ex-White House burglar squad, whatever, Nixon White House, right?
Yep.
After he got out of jail. And so we're standing
around. He got religion in jail, that's right. What
do you do? What do you do? And I say, he works at People Magazine. The guy leaped back.
Yeah.
And practically ran away.
As if burned.
You don't have to be having a Google Glass to scare people if you're a reporter.
Well, everybody now is a reporter, right?
Right. Every blogger. How many times have you been around bloggers and somebody says to them, don't blog this? How many times in class do we have guest teacher people come in? We had yesterday. And they say, don't tweet that.
And now imagine this, Jeff. You're giving a lecture to your class of 500 freshmen, and you dim the lights for the slideshow, and all you see is these little red lights blinking at you from everywhere. That's worse than a Beyonce concert.
No, no, Leo. No. You see that? This is like when I give a talk at a conference of bloggers and nobody's typing and nobody's tweeting. I feel hurt.
Yeah.
I want the red lights on.
All right. Well, what if you look down and there's just somebody's glasses because they didn't want to stay for the lecture, so they just left their glasses there?
Good. I'll get them later.
I don't. Now I'm egging everybody on. But the more I think about it, the more I wonder. Really, is this something people are looking for? And will real people, go, oh man, I've been waiting to wear a camera on my right eyebrow my whole life.
I'm going to make another prediction. I predict that in about a year and a half, Leo Laporte is going to do a whole special show.
Oh, yeah, I'll be wearing it. No, that's true.
Oh, no doubt.
I'm turning it on, and it's going to be live. You're going to see me in the bathroom. You're going to be live, baby. Live. Well, what happened to Justin TV? That's how that started, right? Justin walking around, and we were watching Justin's life. That lasted about 3 weeks, right?
But it came into a business for him.
It became a business, but not him. Do we even see Justin? Do we even know what he's doing anymore? No.
Same with Justine.
Same with
Justine too.
Justine, was she wearing a camera? No, see, I'd watch her.
She wore on her hat.
A hat, that's right. That didn't last either.
Justine, they didn't want to see her worldview.
Exactly. We want to see her. That's why Jenny Cam was inspired.
Yes.
She did it longer than anybody. Or the guy who started pseudo.com. Remember he put cameras in his apartment?
Right.
Josh
Harris. I interviewed him for my book.
Josh Harris, yeah.
He
almost went psychotic after being on camera nonstop for 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it was.
Plus the movie We Live in Public, right?
We Live in Public.
Yeah.
I will. Of course, that all three of us will be sitting here in a year or a year and a half wearing these. I'm not saying we won't love them.
Where are our Google Glasses? They haven't arrived.
Yeah.
Just like that.
I'm not saying that. I cannot see these as a mass appeal product by any means.
No, I agree with that.
I know. Yeah, I agree with that too. Not mass appeal, but it is going to be a specialty thing. I don't know. I'm trying to think of
first brick phone.
The Kinect, for example.
The Kinect sold very well.
But
it's not being used at all.
No, that's a bad example. It's just going to be a
No, it's a perfect example.
Item.
It's a very good example. These things seem so cool.
The first brick phone, the first brick cell phones.
Yeah.
Were seen as absurd. Who wants to be able to be called everywhere? You look ridiculous holding it, just like you do with a note. And you know, and on, and they're wildly expensive.
I'll grant you that, and that's what I'm saying when I say I think wearable computing is a good idea. But what's really a challenge is how do you make that palatable and workable? And I think in many ways, because I carry this in my front pocket, my cell phone is a wearable computer. I mean, it really is. I don't, you know, you think about yourself. You get up and go to a different room. Don't you bring your cell phone with you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
It is very much integrated into our persona. So does it have to be on the body? Does it have to be glued to my head?
Be easier sometimes.
No.
Yeah. Did you ever see Jonathan Harris's The Whale Hunt?
No, what's that?
Jonathan is a brilliant, brilliant artist and developer, and has done all kinds of projects. But if you look up Jonathan Harris Whale Hunt, he put a camera around his neck, and when he went on a whale hunt, he took pictures at least once every 5 minutes.
Wow.
More if there was more happening. And it is incredible.
He wasn't hunting whales to kill them. He was looking to watch them.
No. He was with Inuit going to do the whale hunt.
Oh, my.
So you could see, one of the things is you see a timeline of the activity of the photos. When the photos go, whoa, you know what's happening, right? They got a whale. When you see you can also look at the colors. When you see a bunch of red, what is it? They're butchering the whale. Absolutely fascinating of seeing. I mean, he's a photographer and he took an actual picture, and it's good photography. But it was the same. It was another idea of life recording, but it was around a story. And he found other ways to tell the story with this constant chronicle. And it's amazing what this can do to change our view of storytelling.
Yeah.
And witnessing.
Yeah, I think the professionals will have a use for it. I don't know. I know I'm sounding like Andrew Keene all of a sudden, but...
Leo, I'll buy your glass right now.
No. You ain't getting my glass. Don't get your hopes up.
Don't go that far.
It's going to be wasted on you, fella.
No.
It's the sin.
I need to understand this. You know me. I'll wear it all the time, but that doesn't mean anybody else will. I want a Segway. In fact, I'm waiting. I figure the used Segway market's going to go pretty good pretty soon. You could be able to get a Segway $500, $600 any minute now.
Of course, I'm the guy who just bought the 3D Doodler.
Now there's a product. We're going to take...
It's only $75, so what the heck?
Yeah. This is, for those who weren't watching the pre-show, a pen that draws with melted plastic so you can draw stuff in the air. And then it hardens. Little program note, because we do now believe that Sony is going to announce a PlayStation 4 this afternoon, we are going to shift triangulation back an hour. Steve Huffman will be our guest, one of the founders of Reddit. We talked with Alexis Ohanian a few weeks ago, and now we're going to get the other side of the story. But prior to that, right after Twig, we will go to special coverage of the Sony PlayStation 4 announcement, because we do believe that they will announce a PlayStation 4, according to my sources. Just a little program now. We're going to take a break, come back with more. Our changelog coming up next. And we want to give credit to the changelog composer.
Yes, we should.
Don't let me forget to do that, okay? But first, a word from Citrix, a new product. It's called Podio, P-O-D-I-O, and it's impossible to describe, but once you start using it, as we have here, you will never want to be without it again. That's why we're saying go start a free account, create a workspace, and start having some fun with Podio. This is my Podio workspace. Look, we all, at work now, we're all electronic knowledge workers. No matter what you do, you've got email, you've got documents, maybe they're in Google Docs, maybe they're in SkyDrive, you've probably got spreadsheets and word processing databases. And all of these disparate sources of information just kind of spread out. The idea of Podio is to bring it all into a central repository where you can see it. You don't have to give up any of your tools. You're still using them, but Podio manages them. Plus, you also have this activity stream where it's like an in-house Twitter, basically. Share images, links, polls, files with other people in your group. You create as many groups as you need. To-do lists. There are worksheets in all different categories. You've got all sorts of applications, many by third parties. A lot of people are using Podio in a lot of very interesting ways right now. But the problem we're having, and I'm having, is how do I describe what Podio can do for you? Well, the best way to do it is for you to try it. And that's the nice thing. I have no outstanding tasks. That's good. That's like inbox 0, baby. Podio, Podio.com. My strong suggestion is create a workspace. As soon as you sign up, create a workspace. Start inviting people into it. Whether it's you're planning a party, Kevin Rose's birthday party, or you're planning a something more massive. Maybe you've got a work project you're working on, or you just need better communication in the workplace. Podio.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the change log.
The Google change log.
We missed you, Gina. Without the change log, this just ain't This Week in Google.
I missed doing the change log. Actually, Chad, if you reset the video you're sending me, I can't. You're frozen for me. But
oh Lord,
that's okay. But I'm gonna do it blind. That's all right. So this week, the Google Search for Android app updated with a Google Now widget. We saw this. We saw that there was a help page kind of released that talked about the Google Now widget, and then it was quickly pulled. It's out in the Google Search app for Android. So you can just add the Google Now widget to your Android home screen, and it shows you kind of just the cards that you're used to seeing, the weather and the amount of time it'll take you to travel home. Google Now also got a couple of other updates. Movie ratings from Rotten Tomatoes, real estate listings from Zillow, and new movie tickets functionality. So if you buy movie tickets through Fandango, you'll get a Google Now card telling you when it's time to leave the house to make your showing on time. That. And then when you get to the theater, it'll pop up a QR code that you can just scan to go into the theater. Pretty cool. Also, collegiate athletics have been added to Google Now Sports as well. Another update in the Google Search app for Android is music search. So there's that widget, that what's this song widget that you've seen already that's been out since December, that if a song is playing, you tap the widget, what's this song, and it tells you. Well, now in just the straight up Google Search app, if you tap the microphone for voice search and there's music playing in the area, Google Now or Google Search will say, "Oh, I hear music." You tap the music button; they'll show like a little music note, and then it will tell you what song it hears, and we'll give you the link to buy it directly from Google Play, which is pretty cool. I tested it out before the show; it works really well. And finally, data liberation. The data liberation team is hard at work. They've added Google Plus Pages and Blogger to Takeout. So if you go to google.com/takeout, you can export your Blogger blogs as an Atom XML file, which is kind of old school blog XML format. And if you've got a Google Plus page, you can download HTML files or JSON files of your Google Plus page content. So that's Google Takeout, making sure that your data can be liberated from Google services in all kinds of formats. That's all I got.
And that's the change log. I'm sorry.
So tell us about the composer of the changelog bumpers.
Well, he sent us an email saying, "Hey, I don't want to be a pest or anything, but I'm trying to make a career for myself in composition and music composition, and I was wondering if you would mind if I put on my resume that I created the Google change log sound effect." And I thought, of course not. We would love it. We'd be glad to do that. And why haven't I been giving you credit anyway? So, but my problem, do you have the...
It's Jesse Wiener.
Oh, how could I forget? Jesse Wiener.
Jesse, thank you very, very much for giving me one of the coolest. And
he did the beginning, right?
He did the trumpets and the timpani stuff.
Is that his voice?
Very cool.
I believe, yes. He said that it was great to always hear him say, "It's the Google change log." Right, and you can check out his website.
There you go.
And
WIENER, Jesse.
I want one before my rants.
Okay, Jesse, you have an assignment.
Jeff Renz.
We have to come up with something for that. That's good.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse, and thanks.
You can actually you could do it. Cut it at the end.
What we could do, is just like a blood pressure gauge on screen, blood pressure gauge, and watch it go higher and higher and higher. Jeff's soapbox.
And the evilometer. We talked about doing an evilometer.
The evilometer, right. Yeah.
I actually haven't had the Is Google Evil conversation in a long time. I think that's a positive evolution.
I know. I think it's just a given now. There's no debate anymore.
Oh,
seriously, that don't you think? It's like what's to talk about? Of course they're evil.
Oh
no.
I debate us in every possible way.
Yeah, wow.
Well, what do you mean? They're not evil? Are you saying they're not evil?
Those creepy data collecting, profit mongering.
No, in the sense, they're evil in the sense that they are a corporation designed to profit by selling our attention to advertisers, or just like us.
I was going to say, could you say this about Twit?
And that they are very publicly and openly gathering data to improve that advertising. That might be the evil part. We don't track people. We can't do that.
Leo, I just wrote a piece for Medium that'll be up later this week on defining the troll.
The troll is somebody who says Google's evil?
Just to get the rise out of the tall guy.
You're all trolls. That's who you are.
Jeff, how have you been liking Medium? Have you been writing there a lot?
Yeah, my ex-agent, and even though I'm mad at her for leaving agentry, Kate Lee is there as the head of the content, and Evan Biz are great. And so when I write on it, I wrote last night this piece. I don't think it's up yet, and it is a truly elegant format, and it changes the way you write just because of the environment of where you are.
Because the writing, the compose field, essentially.
Yeah, I think it really is. It's so elegant and so easy. And,
we're talking about Medium.com. This is Ev Williams' new, is it business? I don't know. It's
yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Now, I know that Gina Anil Dash put up a Google Doc spreadsheet this last week of every new kind of content creation tool there is, broadly defined. He included Quartz in that, which I would consider more of not a platform, but just a content site. But nonetheless, there's a lot of activity going on this. But I don't think we've really seen anything that advances the notion of content creation greatly. Medium makes it really elegant and simplistic or simple and pretty.
So it's out of beta. It looks like I could post to it. It was invite only, but now I can write something.
Yeah, they did a new design.
Now, let me just get this straight. I write a 2,000-word article, brilliantly thought out article, and I give it to them, and they publish.
Well, I think they're going to, in some cases, I could be wrong about this, but I think they're going to pay some people to write some stuff. I don't know what the revenue in is. That's revenue out. But I think that he wants an environment of quality.
It's taking the model of Twitter, which was taking all of our 140-character posts, and making it long form.
Except that it could be more like a magazine in the sense that if he commissions pieces,
right?
If he and Kate commission pieces and pay for them to have a quality place where you're around, that's like the Guardian's comment is free. You could just write for it for free, but if they commission you, they pay you.
Can you comment on these posts, or are they just...
Not yet, but they know they need to do that.
Okay.
But the thing about it that's most impressive
it's beautiful.
Right now is the user interface is incredibly easy. You just type, and then when you mark a word, you have a very limited number of choices.
Right.
Two font sizes, bold, italic, link, or quote. That's it. And so it's extremely simple. And I wish that, frankly, Google would learn from that, and then Google Plus give us a lot more power to do more within a Google Plus post.
Oh, it looks like they've added comments. Allow notes on your posts.
Oh, they did. Okay.
When notes are on, readers can add feedback to your post that you can choose to make public. So you now have commenting.
Oh, I think those are the things to the side. They did it differently.
Yeah.
Oh, now I know what that is. I saw the little green box last night.
So Jeff, you wrote the post, but they publish it for you. They hit the publish button.
In this case, Kate asked me to write something this week, and so it was going to go up. But yeah, in the past I wrote a piece about help me. I've written like 4 or 5 pieces for it, and
no, I didn't mean to derail. I was curious about what you thought and how it was.
I like it.
I love Anil. To him, everything is a blog. So that spreadsheet was
one problem here that I'm looking. I don't see a way I could search for Jeff Jarvis's posts.
No, if you go to collections.
I mean, if I know what collection you're in, I'm signed in.
If you go to IMHO,
so I could go to that collection and then maybe scroll down and find you.
Yep. Go to medium.com/@JeffJarvis.
Ah, so he is his Twitter handle.
Oh.
Yeah, because you sign in with Twitter.
But see, I guess because I believe in getting paid for my content. It seems like you're giving them something pretty special.
Well, No, you see, this is, I write for Huffington Post. Why do I do that? Because in their case, they have a lot of distribution.
Right.
And so it gets more attention.
I mean, I love how it looks. It's gorgeous.
Leo, shh, I don't want to tell you this, but I would do this for free.
You are doing it for free. Oh, this. Oh,
this.
no. See, I would feel bad about doing that.
I totally wouldn't. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, we know that. We were the negotiations just back and forth. And
oh yeah,
her agent, her manager. Oh my God,
Shark
her
Tank. Oh yeah,
caterer.
My agent. Oh yeah, we really.
You do it with all those extra brown M&Ms now.
But this is maybe what's wrong with me, because I wouldn't dream of asking you to do it for free.
Well, because you're a professional, and.
Well, what is Ev Williams a professional?
Yeah. You know, I see what you're saying.
If he didn't have a history of taking my content and locking it into his silo at Twitter, I might not be so skeptical, but I am. No, I'm turning into a grump. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm going to stop it right now. I love everything. I think Medium is beautiful. It's got pretty pictures. It's nicely laid out. Its formatting is good. You're going to have a curation problem. You know, it's kind of like Quora. It's kind of like that's the idea. Like Quora, you just pump in content, right? It's in response to a question, but it's the same idea.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of content on Quora, but people spend a lot of time answering questions.
They do.
And I often have that question, that feeling of like, well, why wouldn't I just write a blog post at least on my own site? If I'm going to work for free, I might as well do it on my own domain for myself. But I think it's the community, and I think with Medium, it's just it's very much like the Huffington Post. It's a matter of kind of status.
But is there curation at all in this?
Well, that's what I don't understand now that it's opened up. There was, in the sense that you were invited in.
Right, but not anymore.
Right.
It's like subtle.
There's recommended, and then there's newest. But in this case, in the HBO Girls group, it's the same thing. There's only 4 posts.
Well, that's the other thing, right? So I suggested a collection about Aaron Swartz, and there were 4 posts.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going to do I started a new collection around this Trolls and the Amanda Palmer one, which is about redefining rude. And I want to try to write more on that topic.
There's some very good writers out there. You know, it's like musicians. But if you, so let's say I created a site that for musicians, I said, post your music here and we'll share it with the world. I guess that's like SoundCloud.
Yeah. Well, here's another way to look at it, Leo.
MySpace.
Yeah. A blogger.
What?
Another way to look at it is in my field, I've been arguing lately that we're trapped by thinking that we're in the content business and that all of our value is intrinsic to our content, and the content itself has value, right? And we talked about this in the show before. I get other value out of being on Huffington Post, right? Because and being here, because I get more fame, because people recognize me and see me and hear my blatherings, and then I get gigs out of that. And there's other reasons to do things.
Yeah, we don't pay you your worth, just what we want to pay you. I make money on you. I make more money than I pay you.
Well, you should. That'd be foolish.
Well, you should.
That's actually not the case on all of our shows, but in this case, I make more money than I pay you. But we also gave you, spontaneously gave you a raise as this show became more profitable. We said, oh, we're making more money. We're going to kick in some more. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm a bad businessman. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I wonder. It's funny because I feel differently about spending an hour doing a podcast versus
2 hours writing.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess there's no. I mean, the only difference is synchronous versus asynchronous time.
Right. Yeah, we demand your time at a specific time of the week every week.
Right. I mean, and there's some prep, and but the same with writing. It takes a long time to write a good piece and to do your research and all that stuff. I don't know if just the web and if there's a difference about written content, just feels like it's free, so we're just more willing to post it on Reddit or Quora or wherever that gets more eyeballs versus where it gets us paid. I don't know.
Microsoft's Googled campaign may be working. They say that half of their 80 million users on Outlook.com, 60 million Outlook.com users, now that it's out of beta, are former, I don't know how they would know this, former Gmail users.
Everybody is a former Gmail user, a former Yahoo Mail user, a former AOL user. What does it mean?
Yeah, I mean, I use
have accounts
both.
I don't use. Yeah.
I hope they're not considering me one of those former.
Well, yeah, Microsoft is just turning into this whiny little thing.
Like me.
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I dropped this in the rundown because I think it's interesting that the marketing campaign is this is what Google's doing to you. It's the DuckDuckGo approach, right? Like Google's tracking your stuff. They're using the creep factor around Google to sell their. So if this is true, if this number is true, it sounds as if this is whatever. What was it? 60 million people.
Yeah.
60 million people who don't like the idea that if they mention the word mortgage in their email to a friend that they're going to get AdSense ads about refinancing. That's interesting. It's interesting if that's truly the reaction. I have a hard time believing that this is really, but it's interesting that they hung a whole campaign around that. And I wonder, if there's an opportunity for competitors to kind of point out what Google does and what their business model is, if it's not clear to people, like crystal clear, and then say, well, we don't do this, and this is what we guarantee.
And what bothers me about that, Gina, I think you're right. I think that's part of what's going on. And I think that what bothers me about that is that also gives cooties to the entirety of the internet business model. And basically, Microsoft and News Corp are failing at selling digital ads online, and that's why they're switching to a paywall structure, and they're switching to trying to cut down everybody else who's in that model. And the ad model requires cookies and tracking, and this other stuff. And so, yeah, you can yank down the other guy, but is that really a business model? I don't.
Uh-oh.
He froze in a very attractive pose.
I have no other kind, Leo.
But what I think is interesting is the idea that if everyone really understood how this all works, and it's kind of crazy that at this point we don't. I mean, but if everyone understands how this works, right? The way that advertising works on the internet, where it's based on data, it's data driven based on your behavior. If the choice is if someone could pay for privacy versus get free for ads. I mean, I increasingly hear from people who say, I wish I could just pay a little extra money and not get tracked.
Yeah. They're going to say that. But I would not bet on that model.
Right. You think paywalls are just they're ain't going to work. People aren't going to pay.
If there's free competition that's good enough, if not better.
Right.
I haven't used Outlook.com. I have no idea how good it is, but I love Gmail.
Oh yeah, I do too.
You ain't switching me off.
Fry Gmail from my cold.
Yeah, what Microsoft might also have said is the other half comes from hotmail.com refugees. So there. I had a good, let me go back to it. Sergey Brin giving a speech at Google Ventures CEO Summit, talking about how important it is to fail fast. This is kind of the new accepted wisdom in startups. Fail fast. Move on.
It's a long story that he tells, but it's also a good story.
I'll synopsize it because it is a 10-minute video, which you can see at searchengineland.com. But the story is that before there was Google, Sergey and his friends created a pizza ordering site that involved faxing pizza's orders to the pizza shop. No phone calls required. However, it turns out pizza shops really don't check their faxes very often. So Sergey and his friends are sitting there waiting for their pizza. He called them later, and he was told, let me check the fax machine. No, he decided this isn't going to work. So he got together with Larry Page and worked on data mining and the link structure of the web, and Google was born. He said he's glad the fax idea failed quickly so he could move on to bigger and better things. Wouldn't it be sad if a great mind like his was devoted to making it easier to order pizza?
I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? Maybe he's back to doing Google Now soon with the pizza ordering service.
Pizza ordering.
Okay, glass pizza.
Oh, you just look at a pizza and say, I'll have one of those.
Domino's guy, we get to watch him going around delivering the pizzas.
That would be interesting. Yeah. I do like Glimpse where you can, that would be a great thing for Domino's to send me a glimpse saying, here's our driver. He's on his way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think that through, though, okay, Glass Pizza. Glass knows where you are at the moment, where the nearest pizza shop is, what your address is, what your phone number is. I mean,
and what you like.
what you like, right?
What
You
your
set up an
friends
order
like.
what your friends like, who you're with.
How much money's in your bank account?
You could.
That's where all the value is.
Yeah, order a pizza by saying, "Okay, Glass, like one pizza." I call it a pie because I grew up in Brooklyn.
Give me a
wife
pie.
No,
Gina.
No one calls pizza a pie.
Tomato pie.
You're a step short, Gina. You're a step short. Glass hears your stomach growl and says, "Pizza."
It's a push pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Pizza? Sandwich?
Pizza push.
Pasta?
The day that pizza is pushed to me is the day I get offline entirely.
Oh, no, that's the heaven. Heaven.
Wow, I wanted a pizza and Google just knew.
Yes.
We'll all be 800 pounds because we always want pizza.
Or imagine that we're all having this conversation right now about pizza and we're wearing Google Glass and it pops up a thing that says the nearest shop to you is 2 blocks away. Because it's just heard us talking about
and
pizza.
that's what Eric Schmidt, remember that pants story that it'll know you need pants? And it will just say, hey, there's a pants shop right there. If there even be such a thing as a pants shop.
Or like I look in the refrigerator and I say, hey, Glass, I need milk.
That's what we need. I wish the hell the refrigerators would start ordering food for us.
Yeah, seriously. But then later on when you're walking down the street, Glass will say, hey, there's milk in this store.
There's a coupon for milk down the street.
Okay,
go to that one.
So Glass is paying attention when you look in your fridge. It's recording everything you eat. If it's hummus, it sends it to the National Security Administration. But otherwise, if you're out of milk and it knows that in the past we've seen milk here, we know exactly what brand, and the next time I'm walking by Petaluma Market, it says, milk, here's a coupon.
So, yeah, hey, you need milk.
So you think that the violation of privacy involved in recording everything that's in your refrigerator ad infinitum is worth that?
No. I'm saying that I open up my refrigerator and I say, okay, Glass, I need milk. And Glass just remember. So
you could do that your iPhone right now.
Yeah, I can. But hey, I'm making my cereal here, Leo. Come on.
No, you seriously, you could say, Siri, remind me when I get to the market to get milk. And it will actually, next time you go to the market, it will say, oh, you need milk.
Right. So, okay, yeah.
So in that case, in the use case you just put out, you don't necessarily need the view. You need the mic.
Yeah.
That you have a constant audio feed. So it's Star Trek. Computer?
Oh, yeah. Computer, remind me to get milk.
Right. Or like, oh, I really need to call
Isn't that better, really, than the computer trying to figure out if you need milk?
No.
No.
I'm disorganized. I'm getting old. I'm forgetting things.
Looking at you, Jeff, I think you need a gin and tonic.
Google, you're so right.
Vic Gundotra says the next Nexus will have insanely great cameras.
Vic is a photographer.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was such a photography buff.
Oh, yeah.
On All About Android last night as well. I'm happy to hear him saying this because it's the one thing I miss from the iPhone.
Did you guys talk about the HTC One?
Yep.
Because HTC announced this new, and by the way, it looks like that looks like a beautiful phone.
It does, right?
And they did something interesting. They have it's an 8 megapixel camera that they sampled down to 4 megapixels, an effective 4 megapixel camera. And they said, and I think this is a very good point, the megapixel race is the wrong direction to go because you're not getting bigger sensors, you're just getting smaller pixels on the same size sensor. So I think that's intriguing, and I wonder if that's where Vic's going, or is he thinking like Nokia, hey, let's put a 41 megapixel camera in there. The sensor size is the problem on these things. They're tiny.
Is it?
Yes.
It's not the software, the delay?
It's also software.
Okay.
It's also software. In fact, that was we had an interesting conversation with a fellow from Nokia, Jan Peter Brodmo, who is a photographer but also works at Nokia in kind of an entrepreneurial way. And he says the future of photography is computational.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree with that. And if you think about what you've got with a smartphone is you've got a great computer, very powerful computer, and better software. And just look at all the filters and things people are doing in software with their camera apps. But you still have to have garbage in, garbage out. You still have to have a good sensor. I would love to see a better sensor.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That it probably does not mean more megapixels. It probably means bigger
So the
sensor.
next phones, supposedly the new Nexus and the next Super Motorola are going to be announced at I/O.
Oh, good. Do we have a date
once
for
again,
I/O?
Last year I got screwed for I/O because my appendix burst.
God damn it.
This year I got asked to keynote at tell me if this is worth it or not, at the WWW conference, the World Wide Web Conference in Brazil.
Ooh. I think any chance to go to Brazil is a good thing.
Yeah. It's May 15th.
That's when I/O is?
Yes.
And that's when the WWW conference is?
Yep.
I think you should go to the conference, and Gina and I will go to Google I/O, and if anything happens, we'll get you a paperweight.
A $1,500 paperweight?
$1,500 paperweight. I think you should go. Don't you, Gina? Don't you think you should go?
Go to which?
The web conference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do absolutely everything I can to get to I/O, so we'll have even coverage that way.
Yeah, we're covered. Quickly, we got to run. Let's see. Anything else that we left out?
Real quick, Leo, last week I mentioned the Bing typewriter at the bottom of the Google section. There's a picture there. You might want to show that real quickly to the video folks.
The
Bing 2.0
typewriter. All right, there it is. It's actually a typewriter named Bing.
Bing.
And it says, interestingly enough, number 2. Which is what Bing is.
The current Bing is, of course, version 3, because that's what Microsoft does.
Oh.
Somebody's joking there.
We're number 2. We try harder. We could mention the Leistungsschutzrecht.
Leistungsschutzrecht. Google is doing an ad campaign against it on the back of cab seats.
Why the back of cab seats? Is that
because a well-known German blogger said that for publishers to charge Google for snippets is like a restaurant owner charging a taxi cab driver for bringing a customer to the door.
Love it. And the reggae begins.
Nice.
Don't do one of the BBC, I beg you.
That's going to happen.
Oh, I want to see that remix so bad.
I would like to mention that Yuri Milner, Mark Zuckerberg, Sergey Brin, and the spouses of 2 or 3 of those have put in for a $3 million per prize science breakthrough award.
Oh, that's good.
More than the Nobel, which I think is really very cool. And it's one more way to give back is to encourage new things.
What do we have to do to win it?
Be a lot smarter than any of us are.
New Yahoo homepage.
Yeah.
Marissa's been busy.
It scrolls forever.
This is the innovation?
It's busy.
If I go to yahoo.com, will I see it? Is that where it is?
Yes, I think so.
It's busy. This surprised me. I was expecting, when I saw this headline, I was expecting to see the clean, white, empty. I was expecting to see kind of the Google, because she's all about minimalism.
Yeah.
It looks nice. It's
just
busy.
different business model.
It does infinite scrolling. And,
And like per column scrolling, which is nice.
Oh, yeah? So I could be in this column and it would scroll forever?
Yeah, like the middle column scrolls forever.
Middle column scrolls, yeah.
Yeah, at some point the right column fixes itself at the top.
Wow. It's almost as if Tumblr hadn't invented that 5 years ago. What else?
Wow.
I know. I'm in a bad mood.
You are cranky today.
Cranky.
I kind of like cranky Leo sometimes.
Cranky Leo. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it will be tip, tool, and number of the week. Did we take your... No, we didn't. We didn't take your tip.
Oh, we didn't.
So we can still do it. All right.
I protected Gina.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff blocked for me. Thank you. I would have just gone and started to frantically find another tip before we got there.
No, wouldn't have you do that. I want you to all go to get your Hover account here. Right now, if you go to, I got it written right down here, hover.com/twig. This is a better way to get a phone, I got to tell you. And they have a very good selection of phones, including, of course, all the top Android phones. Hover.com/twig. So what is Hover? Well, they're an MVNO, a mobile virtual network operator. But really what they are is a no BS cell phone company. Now, their cell phone service is, they're reselling Sprint. So if Sprint works well where you are, good coverage and so forth, this is going to be a great choice for you. There is no heavy-handed upselling or aggressive. Wait a minute. I'm doing Ting. I should do Hover.
I wondered.
I got confused. Same company. You know why? It's the same company. It's Two Cows. So Two Cows is doing with Ting the same thing they're doing with Hover. That is, we saw a better way to do something that's being done poorly. Ting was to replace cell phone service. Hover's to replace domain management. And boy, this is a big improvement. I'm sorry, I got confused. But it's the same company, so it's all the same. Get Ting too. Hover.com/twig is the place to go for getting your domain names managed. And I'll tell you, there is no upselling. You get Whois privacy as part of the deal. They've got a great concierge transfer service, so that if you have and you probably do have names at another site, but you want to move it over, they'll do it all for you. Domains start from $15 a year, including unlimited domain forwarding, no charge Whois, and for that you get a whole new year of your domain name. I think you're going to like it. I want you to go to hover.com/twig right now and check it out. 23 top-level-domains.com, of course, although a lot of times you can't get that .com address, so they've got .net as well, a very good address. .org, .tv, .pro, .mobi, .biz. Country TLDs too, like .ca, .asia, .us, .uk. And what I really love is their support. You're not going to have any trouble, but if you did, you can call their toll-free number during business hours. You will not be put on hold. You'll speak to a live person who is fully empowered to make a difference and eager to help. Two Cows is really great. This is one of my favorite companies. Elliot Noss, the CEO there, really says, look, there's stuff that's being done so poorly. We see it as an opportunity. I mentioned the phone service and Hover.com domain registry made simple. If you've got a domain name or you want to register a new one, hover.com/twig. And I think you get 10% off your new domain name if you do that. All right, now it's time for your tip of the week, Gina.
Well, we talked a whole lot about glass. Leo, not so convinced it's going to be so great, but we're all kind of curious.
You want to get it, yeah.
Yeah, we're all curious. We all want to try it. So if you weren't at Google I/O this year and you weren't willing to get in line for that $1,500 Explorer edition, Google's opening up. They want more testers. So if you go to it's google.com/glass/start/how to get one, they're posing a question. What would you do if you had glass? And if you answer on Twitter or Google Plus and you use the hashtag #IfIHadGlass, just say what exactly you want to do with glass. Google's going to that'll be your official application to.
So you're in. It's not a drawing or anything. That's all you have to do.
Well, no, it's an application, so they do have to choose you.
Okay.
And of course, if you search for the hashtag if you had glass on Twitter right now and on Google Plus, there's some snarky ones about your brain being, fried or whatever. But there's also some really good ones, and in fact, Mr. Jeff Jarvis posted one, a really good one. Jeff, do you want to read your If I Had Glass post?
Only allowed to be 50 words, and so I'm calling it up right now. And I said, if I had glass, I would change journalism forever. With my students at CUNY, we'd rethink the news, how it is witnessed and shared. We'd rethink how news alerts and other information are fed to glass wearers, other than Leo Laporte. We'd rethink the UI of creating content post-keyboard. We'd build new business models around glass. And I did that. I was very happy, with that. And then Jonathan Zunger from Google said, "Okay, this is by far the best If I Had Glass I've seen so far," which made me very happy.
Well, I guess you're in.
You're in.
I don't know. I then tried to play on his heartstrings by saying that I couldn't get it last year because of my burst appendix. How's that for pathetic?
That's always play the GIMP card. Never fails. Yep.
That's what I do. I have many of those cards to play, Leo. I have a whole full house of GIMP cards.
It's worth, by the way, doing the search, Gina. You're right. Mike Finch said, if you had glass, I'd never use a public restroom ever again. Erwin says, if you had glass, I'd walk up to you and say, okay, glass, razzle dazzle, and borrow your keys while you're entranced by the pretty lights. Great. Grant says, if you had glass, I'd hack your face. Okay.
So lots of snort going on there. If I had glass, I'd bless the internet with lots of really awesome videos of my daughter giggling. So
better than cats.
Yeah,
that's all I can say. Better than cats.
I gotta say, Jeff's is really good. And Jeff, if that doesn't earn you a pair, I don't know what's gonna win.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It earns me the privilege to buy a pair. Let's be quick to add.
Give us a number, Mr. J.
Well, I was just going in. There was this fascinating large infographic, because infographics and data viz, of course, are all the rage, about a deep dive into porn star data, about 10,000 porn stars. But I looked at it more and I decided, no, not for this show. So I won't do that. But it's kind of interesting that you can get deep data from anything. But let's put it this way. Fewer than you think are blonde. I'll just leave it at that.
They're all on the West Coast.
Most of the West Coast. I'll do something boring instead, but it'll be safer. Google's political spending is up 90% last year, in election year, to $18.2 million.
Still
Facebook's
nothing.
Was up, I know. Facebook's, but compared to Facebook, was up 200% to $4 million, and Apple's was down 13% to $2 million.
I guess a congressman isn't as expensive as I thought.
Yeah.
So you don't really need all that money.
No.
All right. My tool, I actually have one, and I'm stealing this. Was it Renee Ritchie who showed this on Mac Break Weekly, or Andy Anako yesterday? It's called
Andy.
My Script Calculator, and I found out it's also available on Android. It would really work well on a Note, but it could work with any Android phone. It's free, and what it does is you write your calculations. So I could say, what is the cosine of pi, for instance? And it would figure that out. Oops, I have to start over because I had some other stuff on there. Let's say you had a restaurant bill of $41.22, and you wanted to give a 15% tip. My percent's not very good. $6 how do you like that?
Wow,
that's kind of cool, right? Let's start over. Yeah, you guys aren't. You're not impressed.
No, I'm just getting video lag, so I didn't see.
Oh, okay. So it does trigonometry. I could do it in rads or degrees. Just a kind of cool free app. My Script Calculator lets you draw. And you don't need a stylus. You can just do it with your finger as well. 3 times 1,264, and then it figures out the number and does the calculations for you. And you can email that to somebody. Also does a lot of stuff that's way beyond me with, like, algebra. It'll solve simple variables and so forth. Radians, not rads, yeah. Rads is the units of nuclear radiation. Gina Trapani is at smarterware.org, and everybody should go there and read her website. She also is the author of Think Up app and the mother of Edda. And the host...
Co-host of All About Android. Yay. I may have my arena pick for next week. I don't know. I just downloaded my script calculator.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
You can't stop playing with it. Oh, my God. Sony's already announced something, so we're going to rush. Jeff Jarvis, buzzmachine.com. See you later. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, y'all.
We'll see you next week on This Week in Google.